Hi, my name is Claire Innocenti, and this is my positive intervention plan. My student's name is Chris Costanza. He is a third grader at my elementary school. He is currently a student who is on my caseload. He is identified with other health impairment. He is a student diagnosed with ADHD, which he does take medication for. A little background on Chris. He currently already has preferential seating, and in second grade and through the beginning of first quarter this year, we were using a check-in and check-out system with the counselor every day where he would receive positive or negative points for his behavior. His behavior is not always off task. The most troublesome part of his behavior is the fact that he frequently will shout out without raising his hand. He's a very bright student, and he's currently on grade level, so he's able to function with the grade level material, and he loves to participate, but he does not participate appropriately by raising his hand and following the established classroom guidelines and procedures. So I already knew this about Chris, but to determine the behavior, I used the teacher interview. I interviewed his general education provider and the anecdotal recording sheet. And the anecdotal recording sheet told me a lot. I knew his behavior was significant, but not as significant as the sheet showed me. I watched him 4 different times over 2 days in language arts and in math, both days for 30 minutes, and it showed me that he would be calling out between 12 and 15 times per content area. And the teacher interview also spoke to what I had been seeing. So we saw that he was consistently interrupting classroom instruction, whether it was whole group, small group, or independent work time. So to find out, again, how frequently that was happening, I used the frequency time sampling sheet and then the duration recording sheet, which really spoke to what we had been seeing. This provided me with a lot of really good information in developing my plan, because initially I had thought when we were using the check-in and check-out with the counselor that a full day was a good measure for Chris, but this showed me that he needs more rewards more frequently to continue exhibiting the desired behavior, as opposed to just a reward in the morning and a reward at the end of the day. So the function of Chris's behavior is mostly attention seeking. He, again, is on grade level, so he loves to participate, but he does not like to raise his hand. He likes to shout out and make his peers giggle and, be the center of attention in the classroom, but also partially for escape. Like any 9-year-old, he frequently does not want to work when it is the established time to do work. So the replacement behavior is that Chris will raise his hand to participate during group instruction or during independent work times, as measured on 2 out of 3 consecutive opportunities daily. So in my folder, you'll see that there are my 2 data sheets, and they are for consecutive consecutive sampling of the behavior that is being measured. So for his PIP, I figured that a token system would be very appropriate. He is a student who really responds to positive rewards. So I thought that, why not use this to give him the ability to be the center of attention, because all the other students wonder, why does Chris get to go on the computer after getting 5 tokens? They might be exhibiting the correct behavior, but they aren't getting this reward. So, eventually the goal would be to fade it, which I will get to later, but to start, we started with this, and he was receiving 5 tokens, or he was, able to receive 5 tokens per content area. That means 5 tokens in language arts, 5 tokens in math, 5 tokens in social studies, and 5 tokens during science. We also used this through his specials, so in art, PE, and music. Now, the computer time may have looked different. It was up to the teacher's discretion, because the reinforcer that he was working for was determined at the beginning of each period or each content area. So at the beginning of art, they would determine what he was working for. At the beginning of language arts, we would determine that Chris was working for computer time. This was definitely the most popular reinforcer. So the baseline that I used to collect the data was frequency. I'm just making sure I'm hitting all my targets. And it showed us that his outbursts were consistent and they were very disruptive to the whole group instruction, the independent instruction, and also small group instruction. His plan was the token system. So because, again, it was a preferred activity that he chose before we began measuring this behavior, it was definitely something that he was willing to work towards. So I taught the replacement behavior by modeling for myself, by raising my hand to ask the teacher a question if I was in there co-teaching, through using his peers, using positive praise, and then obviously through using the token for when he would exhibit the desired behavior. It took about 2 weeks to get him to really show any kind of progress, but once we did start seeing that progress and he started seeing the rewards, he really took off. So we monitored Chris's PIP. I used daily sampling data sheets, which are attached in my folder, to see how effective the token system was. And again, we began with these 5 tokens every content area, and then we were actually, after 4 weeks, able to fade back to 5 in the morning and then 5 in the afternoon. So like 5 before lunch, 5 after lunch. We are still continuing to use 5 for the duration of specials. So in the 30 minutes that he's in PE or the 30 minutes of music, he's still able to earn the 5 because that is a little less structured than the classroom, so he does have a little harder of time controlling his outbursts. But in the end, the PIP was very effective. His behavior decreased by 70% in language arts and in math, and we are seeing, another side of the student. We were actually, like I said, able to fade back from receiving 5 tokens per content area to 5 for the first half and 5 in the second half of the day. So I learned a lot from using this with Chris. Something so simple and to me seemed, so almost too easy, actually worked and was extremely effective for my student. And thank you so much for your time.